The thing about The Weeknd is he didn't get to the top by doing what everyone else was doing. He didn't rely on viral gimmicks or trying to be the most likable guy in the room. From the start, his music leaned into emotion, the kind of emotion most artists avoid because it's too heavy, too complicated, or just too real. He didn't show up trying to sell you a fantasy of perfection. What he put out instead was raw, unfiltered, and sometimes uncomfortable. The music was moody, the lyrics were personal. He wasn't writing songs to make you feel good, he was writing songs that made you feel seen, even if it was the ugliest part of yourself. And that's exactly why he stuck. Because the truth is, most people don't live in some polished pop dream. A lot of people are just trying to make it through, dealing with stuff they don't even talk about. Loneliness, regret, lust, the kind of emotions that don't look great on paper, but are always there in the background. And The Weeknd's music gives those feelings a voice. It's not about one song or one album. It's about the atmosphere he's built. This world he's created, where sadness doesn't have to be loud to be powerful, where desire is complicated, messy, and not always healthy, and where pain doesn't get tied up neatly with a happy ending. That approach, being completely okay with the darkness, is what separates him from the pack. He doesn't try to fix the feelings in his songs, he just sits with them. That's why the music hits the way it does. It doesn't try to escape the emotion, it leans into it. And yeah, sometimes it's heavy, sometimes it's uncomfortable, but it's also honest. Take the way he talks about lust. He's not glamorizing anything. He's not playing some rock star character who's proud of how many people he's hooked up with. He's showing what it looks like when physical connection is a substitute for emotional one, when sex becomes a way to fill the void instead of facing it. And people relate to that more than they admit, because a lot of us know what it feels like to want something that we also know isn't good for us, whether it's a person, a lifestyle, or just a moment. His music doesn't judge that, it just expresses it. That's what makes it addictive, not in the literal sense, but in the emotional one. You put on a Weeknd song and it doesn't just match your mood, it validates it. It makes you feel like you're not crazy for feeling too much or for being stuck in something you don't fully understand. And the production, it's always high quality, but it never feels like it's trying too hard. He's not overcomplicating things. He just knows how to create a sound that wraps around you. The synths, the reverb, the pacing, it all works together to create this emotional fog that you kind of want to get lost in. It's not about sounding flashy or trendy, it's about building a vibe that lingers. Something that doesn't fade once the song ends. That's what makes his music work on repeat. It doesn't wear you out. If anything, it pulls you in deeper the more you listen. Now, most artists try to appeal to the widest audience possible. That's how you get big, right? But The Weeknd didn't compromise his sound or his themes just to be more mainstream. He found a way to bring his world into the mainstream instead. That's the real trick. He didn't change to fit the charts moved to make room for him. And yeah, he's evolved over the years. He's experimented with different sounds, worked with different producers, changed the style of his visuals, but the core of it has stayed the same. The vulnerability, the tension between pleasure and pain, the refusal to simplify emotions that aren't supposed to be simple. At the end of the day, people crave that kind of honesty. Not everyone wants a feel-good anthem. Sometimes you just want something that tells the truth, even if it's messy, especially if it's messy. That's what The Weeknd gives people, a space where the feelings don't have to be fixed. They can just exist. And when you do that, when you make music that lets people feel without judgment, you don't need to force it onto the charts. It finds its way there naturally. Because people don't just like that kind of music, they hold on to it. They come back to it, again and again. Not because it makes them feel better, but because it makes them feel understood. That's not something you can fake, and it's not something you can manufacture with a marketing campaign. That's what makes it powerful. That's the real reason The Weeknd's music dominates.